What's going on YouTube? Today we've got the latest version of the 2023 Hyundai Sonata.
And we want to know, does this Hyundai Sonata have what it takes to take on the new Honda Accord?
Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's kick things off under the hood with our spec dump. So the Sonata comes with a wide variety of powertrain arrangements. The SEL Plus and the Limited, which is what we have today, have the 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's going to be making 180 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque.
It's paired to an 8-speed automatic, routed to the ground via the front wheels only, and it gets about 31 miles per gallon combined with this trim level. Now, of course, don't forget, they do have that powerful inline. We're not biased at all, but that will be covered in a separate review. But for now, let's go ahead and shut the hood up and take a detailed look at the exterior before we take it out on a spin.
So let's talk about the exterior design. Now, since this generation of Sonata came out, it has had a very bold look to it. Some have said it looks like a catfish. I don't really know what a catfish even looks like, but sure, we can say that. Let's talk about the grille first and foremost, because that's the dominating feature of the front end design. It takes up most of this front end, and there's a few different versions you can get. If you choose the base SE trim, that's going to be a little bit more conservative than this. If you choose the inline, that's going to be more aggressive, and especially with some extra lower elements down here at the bottom. Now, the other super distinct part of the styling is the lighting. So you have standard LED headlights across all the trim levels, and you'll notice you have this really cool daytime running light and turn signal indicator, which runs all the way up here on the hood. It's a very distinct looking element. It makes this vehicle one of the easiest cars to recognize at nighttime. Now, you will notice inside of the headlights themselves, you will have reflector LEDs on all the lower trim levels until you get to the Limited trim level, and that has the projector LEDs, and there are no fog lights on any models. Now, continuing around to our rear design, basically the unique look does continue back here as well. It has a interesting design, especially in the way you look at the shape of this rear deck lid area and the integrated spoiler.
Yeah, and of course the taillights are going to be the big element going on in the back because they're full length. And let's see if all three elements are LED. Drew, go ahead and hop inside and check that out. We have an LED brake light. We got an incandescent turn signal into the bumper, and we also have an LED turn signal indicator. All of our accenting is also LED. You're gonna have 2 out of 3 elements as LED, which is pretty good for this segment of vehicle, although some, like the new Honda Accord, do give you all of the elements as LED. And it is worth noting you have to go for at least the inline or the Limited trim levels to get the LED taillights. Now, as far as other design elements, we have Sonata spelled out across the back, and then dropping down to the lower diffuser area, we're going to have a decently aggressive diffuser, but one thing worth pointing out is there is integrated exhaust only on the right side, which I honestly think is enough reason by itself to go for the inline, because the asymmetry there I'm really not a fan of. In the great wise words of Randy Jackson, I would say that's a no for me.
Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the wheel options. So you have a variety of choices starting at 16 inches and ranging all the way up to 19 inches. The Limited actually does not have the largest wheel option. This is an 18-inch contrast alloy wheel. The SEL Plus and the inline come with a larger 19-inch alloy option. And if you choose the inline, you will also get larger brakes because you're going faster. Rising up here to your mirrors, you will have both heating and blind spot monitoring if you choose anything except the base SE trim.
Now, at the side of the Sonata, the overall length is going to be 192.9 inches. It's a good length for this segment of vehicle, and you're going to notice a lot of different body lines. Hyundai is always good about making it very stylish, and that's going to continue for 2023 with the Sonata. Now, as far as some of the elements, since we have the Limited, we have chrome on the top of our door handles. We also have chrome on the tops of the window surrounds, and Hyundai must really be trying to drive my OCD insane because the bottom is actually not going to be chrome. We believe this is a COVID part shortage, but if you work at Hyundai or if you work at a Hyundai dealership, go ahead and comment what the issue is with the half missing chrome pieces. It was different on every single car on our dealership lot, so I'm not exactly sure what to do about that. Now, as far as your safety systems though, Hyundai has always been good about this, and that continues this year. So you're gonna have all 4 of your active safety systems as standard equipment on the Sonata. So even that base model will have all of your systems. Now, one 2023 change is going to be that Highway Drive Assist has now been made inline and limited exclusive. It used to be on SEL Plus. Highway Drive Assist is now only going to be on those top 2 trim levels. But guys, the Limited has a very luxurious interior, so let's go ahead and check that out.
So before we get inside the cabin, let's take a look at our key fob. This is the typical Hyundai key fob. You do have smart entry on the SEL trim level as well as remote start. You have digital keys starting at the SEL Plus trim level, and we also have the smart parking system, so you can pull into and out of parking spots here on the Limited trim level. Now to get inside, there is a sensor behind the handle, so all you have to do is just grab it. That will unlock the door. And take a look inside the cabin. This, of course, as we mentioned earlier, is the Limited trim level, so this is the most luxurious version of the interior you can get. But let's go ahead and talk about the different material and color options that you can get throughout all the trim levels. SE and SEL are going to come with cloth seating. SEL Plus comes with a leatherette and suede seat. When you go for the inline, that comes with Napa leather with Dynamica suede inserts in the middle. And then here on the Limited, this is a full real leather seat. As you can see, nice perforations, a nice design through the middle there. As far as your color choices, you have black, gray, or camel. As far as the seats themselves, they're going to be 8-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support on the vast majority of trim levels. However, you do have additional side bolster adjustment on the inline models. But let's go ahead and climb inside. When you climb inside, you do get a little animation right there on the gauge cluster. And of course, being an inline owner, I'm pretty familiar with this cabin. It hasn't really changed for 2023, but with the Limited trim level, you do have a little bit more luxury and a little better finishes than your lower trim levels, of course, as you'd expect. Let's start out by talking about our door trim over here. As you can see, we have a gray finish, the same as the seats here on the armrest, fully leather wrapped. It's going to be leather through here in the middle as well with a stitching detail, all soft touch along the top. We do also have 2-person memory seating. As far as our windows, 1-touch auto up and down for the driver and passenger. Moving to the upper part of the dashboard, we have a little bit of leatherette through there. It's going to be hard touch just on this very upper part, and all of this is going to be finished in a nice leatherette with stitching detail. Soft touch materials through here. We do have the full chrome accenting around the vents and whatnot. No leather padding though along the center console. Everything does fit together nice and firmly as well. Let's go ahead and fire it up. But like always, let's go ahead and move into a first-person perspective for a little bit more intimate look at all the rest of the details of the interior. We're going to start off with our gauge cluster. So you got 3 different arrangements actually of different screens that you can get. This one is, of course, the full digital one. It's a 12.3-inch display. This comes on the Limited, SEL Plus, and inline trim levels. It's a very nice looking display. You have different designs as you change to different drive modes. And I've got 2 exclusive Limited features to show you. So if you want the ultimate tech, you're going to have to choose the Limited trim level. The first is going to be your blind spot camera system. Signal to the right and left, you get that stream of what's in your blind spot. Additionally, you do also have a head-up display on just the Limited trim level. Now coming back, we do have rain-sensing wipers on board, and we've got a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. Latest Hyundai look to it, nice quality leatherette. We do have manual tilt and telescoping heating on just the Limited trim level. Let's go ahead and turn over here to interior storage, and first of all, let's subject the center console to the coupon test. Even though I already know how this is going to go, being an owner and all, it certainly fits all the coupons we can throw at it. Plenty of space, you don't even have to fold them in half. Got our 2 cup holders. Nice large area up here, wireless phone charging pad on SEL Plus, and you've got your 2 USB ports as well. Now pulling back, this is the Hyundai push button style shifter. Nice and easy to use, just press the D for drive, of course. Most trim levels do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Press the R for reverse, and here's another one of those limited exclusive tech features, the 360-degree camera system. So in addition to that traditional view you have right over there, you're going to get that overhead view, and you can switch between a few other views as well. Press the P for park. You do have both an electronic parking brake and brake hold. That's going to be located on the other side of the steering wheel. What's located behind the steering wheel is your drive mode controller, as well as a few other functions. Now rising on up here to our climate controls. We do have a dual zone automatic climate control setup. This is going to be on all but the base model. Nice and simple to use, good high quality knobs and buttons through here. You will also notice our heated seats. This is going to be included on all but the base model as well, but seat ventilation is exclusive to the limited trim level if you want that. Now let's move on up here to our volume knob. Two different sound systems on board. Lower trims get a 6-speaker sound system. SEL Plus, Limited, and Inline get the 12-speaker Bose Premium sound system, and we'll go ahead and give it a sample right now. Overall sound quality of this system is pretty darn good. We've certainly found this to be a very satisfactory sound system. Just be aware that the Bose sound systems skew a little bit more towards heavy bass, but you can make those adjustments inside the sound settings if that's something that bothers you. All right, so let's talk about the displays because we have a little bit of a change for 2023. That's going to be expanded availability of this 10.25-inch display you're looking at right now. This is now on all but the very base model. So only the SE trim level will come with a smaller 8-inch display for 2023. Now let's talk about the software on board. Of course, typical Hyundai software, you've got that kind of home screen there. You've got all your apps listed out. The main difference between the two displays continues to be the fact that with the larger display, you have built-in navigation, first of all. The second thing is that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay require a wired connection on the larger display. It is wireless on the 8-inch display. But moving on from the display, you have an auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink Universal Remote starting at the SEL Plus trim level. And up here at the top, this is a feature I really want to highlight. Still, some of the rivals to this Sonata do not even offer a panoramic sunroof at all, yet on this model, the top 3 trim levels actually get this as standard equipment. So that's the SEL Plus, the Inline, and this limited trim level.
All right, come on back here and join me in this midsize sedan's rear seat. Now, of course, you buy this vehicle because you're going to put kids in the back or something along those lines. And as far as the space is concerned, you're looking at about 34.8 inches of legroom, 38.4 inches of headroom. Those figures are about 5 inches less than the competition. But honestly, I think Hyundai didn't get their ruler right because it does not feel that much smaller in real life. So I did bring my handy dandy rulers. Let's see how much space between my knees and the seat back. We're looking at about 9 inches of knee room. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". So I think Hyundai needs to adjust their measuring because that's not exactly right. Now, as far as some of the features are concerned, here in the center we do have vents. That's going to be on SEL Plus trim levels and above. If we drop below that, we have a USB port. This is the charging variety. If we drop down the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders integrated inside. It is worth noting, though, even on this limited trim, you're not going to have a toasty bum because Hyundai is not including heated Toyota. Okay. Because Hyundai is not including heated rear seats on any version of the Sonata. Now, checking out your door trim, nice soft touch materials on the top part, leatherette through the middle, nice gray leather on your armrest portion. We do have a little bit of bottle storage down in the bottom. Now, walking up to the trunk area of the Sonata, as long as you have the key in your hand, and have the feature activated. You have the hands-free smart trunk, which is really nice. So go ahead and pop the trunk open for you. And we're looking at 16 cubic feet of cargo capacity in the Sonata's cargo area, which is a good figure. That's actually better than the Toyota Camry. That's a really large amount of space, and after owning a Sonata for many years at this point, this trunk is actually very, very nicely sized. Now, as far as some of the features, we do have the 60/40 split folding rear seats. And if we lift up the cargo floor, you will see that we have a spare tire. One thing worth noting is that for 2023, the inline model actually loses that compact spare tire. That's a odd change, but that is one of the changes this year for the Sonata. Well, here we are behind the wheel of the 2023 Hyundai Sonata, and in this test drive, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to get some accelerations and do our signature Car Confections sound level reading. So let's go ahead and start out by getting an acceleration with this 1.6 liter turbo 4-cylinder. Not bad.
Yeah, there we go. Up to about 60 miles an hour, and then back down to a stop here at this red light. Nope. False alarm. The rolling start is a good example of the best thing about this powertrain, torque.
Yep.
We have 195 pound-feet of torque. So like we mentioned at the spec dump, there's actually 4 powertrain choices, so you really have a ton of different choices. The standard 2 trim levels are going to have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. The upper trim levels, which would be the SEL Plus and the Limited, those are going to come with this 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Then of course you've got the inline that has its own 2.5 liter. We have a
soft spot for that.
Turbo. That's right.
Of course, we do own that car. Not biased or anything.
Yeah. So of course, if you want to see, detailed driving impressions of that model, we do have plenty of that on our channel. And then finally, you do even have a hybrid option. So you just are flush with choices when it comes to this Sonata. Most people will probably end up choosing this 1.6 turbo. Definitely plenty of power for everyday life. And like I said, with the torque, you have a really nice punch off the line.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is this 1.6 liter, the upper end engine actually has less horsepower than the standard 2.5 liter, but the torque is really the secret sauce in that because, like we've said and demonstrated in this test drive already, the torque figure really pushes you back in your seat, makes you have that nice fluid acceleration. That's definitely going to be better than the standard naturally aspirated engine.
We almost got a little tire spin there with all that torque if you're turning the wheel, which is a good time to mention that this is front-wheel drive only, and that does not matter at all which powertrain you choose. Of course, some midsize sedans are starting to offer all-wheel drive, so
most midsize sedans,
even the platform mate of this, the Kia K5, does offer all-wheel drive, so I'm not sure why they haven't added that yet. Hopefully they'll add that in a future refresh. But just keep that in mind. The other aspect of the powertrain, 8-speed automatic transmission. Nice and smooth, works really well. If you choose the inline model, that's going to be an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission instead for a little bit of snappier shifts.
Yeah. But guys, as we're just cruising along here, going around 55 miles an hour, I do want to talk about your ride quality. For the limited model, that's of course going to be the most luxurious Sonata you can buy, and the ride quality is really, really good. The Sonata in general is a very comfortable vehicle. I think the Limited elevates that up even a little bit more because you don't have the largest wheels or anything like that, the 18 inches. Ride quality is just superb. The seats are also comfortable, and from owning an inline, definitely the ride quality on the Limited is better than the inline. Of course, you would expect that. Now, as far as our sound level reading, let's slow down to 55 miles an hour here so we can get our reading going. 55. Our official reading, 57.6 decibels. And as far as how that compares to its competition, that's going to land it right in the middle of the segment when it comes to the noise entering into the cabin. And do keep in mind, it's pretty windy today for our testing.
For sure.
Now, for your fuel economies, there are a lot of different combinations you can get this car in, so that means you have a lot of different figures there. The maximum one you're going to get is 32 miles a gallon combined. This one we're in today is 31 miles a gallon combined, and the worst one is going to be inline that comes in at 27 miles a gallon combined.
Of the regular gas models. Of course, the hybrid is going to be substantially higher than that. I believe I just checked, it was 52 on combined or in the city. Can't remember which one.
Now, I do want to talk about our airball and slam dunk today. So I think easily the slam dunk can continue to be a typical Hyundai and Kia thing value. Even fully loaded up, this model is going to be less than the equivalently fully loaded up Accord. It's going to be less than the fully loaded up Camry. It's just going to be a more value oriented option in the segment. You're getting all those same features as well. In some cases, even more features.
Now, on the airball side of things, this is something we are acutely aware of every time we get inside our Sonata.
Yep.
Wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay still not available on the big display, which at this point, like I mentioned earlier, is every trim except for the very base model starting in 2023. So, yeah, it's overdue that gets fixed, and we hope they will fix it. Now, most versions of the Sonata, people don't care too much about, your handling, but it is not bad even in this limited model. You have nice and fast steering. It's got a decent heft and decent feel. Of course, if that matters to you, then, once again, gotta recommend the inline model, because that is going to firm up the steering, make that a little bit more accurate, and overall, of course, that is just a lot more performance focused than the rest of the versions of the Sonata.
And as far as your warranty information, wrapping this video up, you're going to have Hyundai's signature warranty, which is very, very impressive. 5 years, 60,000 miles as your basic warranty, 10-year, 100,000 miles powertrain, plus 3 years and 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Now, one of the awesome things about any midsize sedan is that they are pretty affordable. So, of course, we do have the highest end model, which is going to start at $34,975, plus the $1,095 destination. This one's $36,500, but you don't have to pay that much if you don't want to. The SE is going to start at $24,950, SEL $27,475, SEL plus $31,900, and inline is $34,300 this year. But guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2023 Hyundai Sonata Limited. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you paid us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. Why would you do that? Well, if you do that, that gives us more opportunities to show you all cooler cars. So please hit that subscribe button. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Check out our merch store, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.